All right, howdy, y'all. So, there has been a question pervading the Marvel Rivals space recently, which is should it have roll lock, just like Overwatch? So, I think that's a pretty nuanced question, and there's a couple different ways you could look at it. So, like, on the one hand, I'll make an argument for and an argument against. So in favor of roll lock. So for those of you who don't know, like Overwatch, for example, which is a game a lot like this, which I'm sure many of you already know, does have a roll lock system. So you have to queue for tank, damage, or support. So it's not open queue. There is an open queue mode, but that's not the primary competitive source of the game, right? And when it first came out in 2016, for a couple of years there, it was open queue. You could pick whatever. All right. So, eventually it did go into roll queue because, it became apparent that the team comps could get a little fucking wacky or suboptimal, depending on, whether or not you were actually playing competitively or just fucking around. And it eventually led to 2-2-2, right? So 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 supports. And for a long time, that's how Overwatch has been. Now, Overwatch has taken out the second tank, and it's now 1-2-2, but roll queue is still very much in the game. So, the question has become whether or not Marvel Rivals should follow suit. And so, okay, in arguing for it...
If you were as smart as me, you'd be arrogant too.
The comps can be chaotic in this game. The comps can be chaotic. Because a lot of the times you're not going to get a balanced comp, right? Everyone wants to play DPS, and that's not throwing shade. DPS is an extremely fun role.
I don't think that's the welcoming committee.
God, these characters never fucking stop yapping, do they? It is the most fun role to most people, especially casual players, and it's the most accessible and it's the simplest to understand. Like in essence, you do damage. You get picks, Obviously, it can get more nuanced than that, especially in the higher tiers of play. But for all intents and purposes, that's what the damage roll does. And so everyone wants to play that naturally. I did too, back in Overwatch 1, and I still want to do that here in Marvel Rivals. The damage characters have the biggest roster, and there's just a lot of fun to be had there. But what'll end up happening is that a lot of the time, if you're trying to play optimally and you want to play DPS, even if you're cracked, you'll find that you have like 4 or 5 DPS, sometimes even 6 on your team, and no one wants to fucking play, in this game, Vanguard or Strategist. No one ever wants to play that shit. So you're kind of left with that suboptimal comp, and Roll Cube would fix that problem. It would make it to where every comp is a balanced comp, and if you don't want to play Vanguard or Strategist, you could simply just queue for damage. Right? And that guarantees that you'll always get what you want. Now, it may come with increased queue times, but it guarantees you always get what you want. And in a game like this, the population is so high, the queue times probably wouldn't be so bad, but who knows how that would be over the course of the game's lifespan, right? So that's what's good about that. The team comps will always be balanced, and you will always get what you want. You'll probably get faster games if you play Tank or Vanguard and Strategist, but it certainly is possible to do that. Now, against. A lot of the ethos, it seemed, of this game was to create a fun, bombastic experience for everybody. And it seemed to lean into casual play. Not to say this game can't be competitive. Obviously, it has a competitive mode, and a whole bunch of pro players and streamers that were really good at Overwatch are really good at this game. And it is competitive. Don't get me wrong. But leaving it open queue can really help enhance that crazy, like, sort of wacky feeling that anything could happen. Because, it would feel really good if you had like 5 DPS and 1 healer or whatever, and you fucking ran a train on the other team because you guys are just that cracked and you just overloaded them with damage. Like, that is really cool. And every character in this game has some sort of like respectable power. As I'm playing Iron Man, I don't really think he's that good, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, and if you want to lean into the casual side of things, open queue is definitely the way to go, because you get to just have fun, do whatever the fuck you want, and you're not pigeonholed. Because God forbid, say you're playing Iron Man and you're like, fuck, I suck right now. I'm not hot on Iron Man. I'm not hot on any of the DPS. Let me switch to a tank. and I can provide some more sponginess for my team and distract. And then you do that, and you can do that because you have that kind of freedom, right? So each one comes with its pros and cons. As it stands, I haven't heard that NetEase is trying to implement any form of role queue, but it took Overwatch like
Enemies on
what, 2
approach.
years before it happened. So the same could happen with this game. It depends on community feedback. It depends on a multitude of factors, but ultimately it comes down to this. Should Marvel Rivals have role queue? Definitively. In my opinion, for my tastes, I would say yes. I do like having balanced team comps all the time. However, if the intention of this game was to form a bombastic casual player base, then no. It should keep open queue because it's objectively more chaotic, which could lead to some silly goose good times. So yeah, this was a bit of a quick video. Just fucking around here in the training range. But I do think it's an important conversation. I just didn't want to overload you and just say a bunch of shit that didn't matter. Just kind of wanted to get straight to the point. There's definitely a lot to consider here. I'm going to be having fun with the game either way. I'm having fun with it now that it's open queue. Like I said, I would prefer that it would be role lock, but that's just me. And if the majority of the community is against me on that opinion, I'm more than okay laying that sword down. I'm not going to die on that hill or anything like that. So, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time, man. Peace out.